Thank you for letting me sit with your PLC today. Before we continue with today's work, I want to thank you for the reflective and collective work that we were engaged in last time we sat together. Each one of you brought your Unit 7 for Measurement and Geometry assessment graded and ready for discussion. As a result, we were able to engage in the discussion of what students were able to accomplish with this unit and what areas they still needed support in. We also asked one of our colleagues to share one of the lessons that she engaged her students in, and we agreed to take on her lesson and reteach it to our students in order for them to be able to deconstruct and construct angles with addition and subtraction. Thank you for letting me go into your classrooms and letting me see how your students were engaging in this lesson. There were so many bright spots as a result of that. I saw students that were literally taking and breaking apart the angles for their triangles and putting them back together. I also saw you as my bright spot. So many of you noticed that a few of your students were still struggling with deconstructing and constructing angles. So you were very quick to bring them into your small group area. Right away, that's what good teaching is. You knew that those students needed a little extra dose with the teacher. So I want to take you to another bright spot. I want to take you down memory lane a couple of years ago here at Sunset. Okay, so a few years ago, before many of you were here, we used to have an old building. And in one of those buildings, there was an enormous sunset. Enormous. And all the students would line up in front of that building. Because inside the sun setting down, there were 3 phrases that the students would repeat all the time that you must be familiar with because I repeat them. And they are, I can, I will, and why not? And every single time that we would have an outdoor assembly, all the students, teachers, parents, anyone who was out there would, at the count of 3, would have to shout it to the top of their lungs. Well, amongst those lines, there was a 6th grade line before they went to San Isidro. In one of those lines, there was a young girl. And she believed it. She knew she could. She was, I can. She knew she would. So she would yell, I will. And then when it was time to do the why not, she would stay silent because she didn't understand the why not part. Like, why not do what? Well, that's because she had many bright spot teachers. Because in her 6th grade classroom with our recently retired Mr. Martinez, she knew she was getting the support that she needed. She knew that she was a newcomer and that math was her strength, but language was what was holding her back. So Mr. Martinez, like many of you, would call her into small group area and do very purposeful teaching to her needs. And then she also knew that it would happen in ELA and in science, and that the groups were always different depending on what she needed. So as she grew up, she knew she would and she could, and the why not never quite made sense. So I know a lot about that little girl because that little girl is me. I came here to Sunset, as many of you know. So I had many bright teachers like the ones that I have right now in my staff that know that the next step when students are still in need is to call them into a small group. I saw it in your lessons. And I also know that last time that we were sitting together for PLC, and we noticed that some of our students were not only struggling with deconstructing and constructing angles, but with other areas. You were literally taking your assessments and putting them in piles and saying, well, let's make a small group here and let's make a small group there. What was your idea? I love your Kahoots. Oh yeah, I could take it on. But somehow along the way, we paused it. And we said, maybe we should do this for SBAC, and our conversation went on somewhere else, which is okay. We knew what students needed to learn. And we knew what they hadn't learned, which goes with our PLC questions. So I want to encourage you to go back with, what do we do with when they haven't learned? And you knew that it was small group. So I want this PLC to be around small group instruction, purposeful small group instruction. What do we need to do for our students to be able to acquire the knowledge that they need in order to go on to 5th grade? Because as we know, they're leaving us in a couple of weeks to our 5th grade colleagues. And we want to make sure that we send them very ready 5th graders, just like we expect our 3rd grade colleagues to be doing the same for our future 4th graders. Not only that, our 4th graders who are about to go to 5th grade, it's their last year here with us. And we want to make sure that we send the very best and brightest students as mathematicians to our colleagues in middle school. So for the next 2 hours, I want to make sure that we create those small groups and we see our schedule to see where can we teach those purposeful small group instruction. And I am here to support you as always. I can't wait to get started.